Hi everyone, this is Gina. Today I'm going to show you how to make this little multicolored bracelet. Of course, it doesn't have to be multicolored. It could be any color scheme that you would like it to be. I just wanted mine to be kind of cheery and all different tones of color, so that's what I did. And it's kind of like the first unit that we made in these earrings here. Well, it is the same unit that we made in these earrings here. I've been using the base of this particular style quite a bit in a few different designs they seem to have, and it seems to have inspired me for a few things. So you're going to recognize it from this set of earrings that we just made. However, it's a whole different appearance because I used the base, but I designed it differently. So anyway, let's go ahead and see what we need to make this project today. For this project today, you will need a toggle clasp. I'm using a very small toggle clasp. It's about a 1/2 inch in diameter, which makes a difference when you are making the length of your bracelet. So if you pick a very large toggle, you want to make less units than I make to get the length that you want. If you pick a small one, then of course you can just follow right along. You will need 11O seed beads and 8O seed beads. This is a galvanized seafoam color, and this is a galvanized aluminum silver tone color. You will need, and of course this is an 8O and this is an 11O. You will need some 4mm bicone crystals. I am going to make 2 units each of a different color of embellishments in the center of my units. So I am going to have 5 different colors of 8 4mm bicones. So altogether you need 45 4mm bicones. Of course they can be all one color. You can do 2 units of one color, 2 units of the next color like I'm going to do, or you can do each unit a different color. So you will either have to have 4 of each color or 8 of each color, depending upon how many units you make of each color. And like I said, I'm going to make 2 units of each color. I'm going to have 5 of them because I'm going to make 10 units. Then you will need a size 10 beading needle and some 8-pound Fireline. Of course, you can use 6-pound Fireline if you would like. You can also use 8 or 10-pound nanofill. Thread onto your needle about 2 wingspans of thread to start your project, a couple of yards, in other words. Go ahead and thread your needle and we'll get started. Okay, to start this project, we're going to do our base unit just like we did in the earrings that I just posted. If you've looked at that, you're going to see that I'm going to do a couple of tutorials with the same type of base because I just got several different ideas from using the same base. So I'm sharing them with you. You may get sick of the same base unit. We're going to pick up 12 8O seed beads onto our needle. This is 6, 7, 8, 9, and then we will get 3 more and have 12. 12 8O seed beads. And I'm going to bring this down to the end of my thread. And I'm going to leave a bit of a tail for my clasping. Now if you want to use your tail completely for your clasping, leave about 12 inches. If you want to extend your Fireline, then to put your tail on, then you don't have to leave quite as much. I'm going to leave about 4 or 5 inches, just enough to extend my Fireline so that I don't have to struggle with having a great big long tail while I'm showing you how to make this first unit. Now, come back from the tail side through your first 3 8O seed beads. Hold on to the tail thread, hold on to those 3 seed beads, and pull your working thread through until you form a circle with your beads, like so. Now, we are not going to tie a knot, and we are going to leave slack in this because as we make the base unit, we want to make sure that we can place our next steps in without bunching the beads. It needs to adjust itself on the line as we do this, so don't worry about pulling it really tight. Then you're coming out of these 3 seed beads here. Hold on to your tail so that it doesn't slide away, and hold on to a bead or 2. Then pick up 2 11-0 seed beads and go into the next 3 beads on your circle. So just go into the next 3, pull those 2 seed beads down. You don't have to have a lot of tension here. You're just going to place these beads down on the thread between the 3 8-0s, or the 6 8-0s actually, that you are between here. Then you're coming out of these 3, you're going to pick up 2 more 11-0 seed beads, and you're going to go into the next 3 8-0s. Hold on to the beads and pull through. You have to keep a grip on your beads or your thread somehow so that you don't pull your tail through, since it is not knotted. Then you're going to pick up 2 more 11-0 seed beads onto your needle, and you're going to go into the next 3 8-0s here. Then this is where your tail is coming out, and you're going to do the same thing. Let's just get a little bit closer just to make sure you can see what I'm doing very clearly. Pick up 2 11-0 seed beads. You're coming out of this set of 3 8-0s. You're going to go into the set of 3 0s that you have previously put on. So going to the next set right next to it and pull your 2 11-0s down. Now, as you can see, as I went through my last set of 3 8-0s, I exited my 11-0 seed bead. So I went through the 3 8-0s and the 11-0 in the first set that I put on. Now I'm still leaving slack in this line, although it's nice and neat and there's not a bunch of slack that you can see. It's still there. It's just I very gently pulled these beads together because I still need to be able to move my beads around as I do this and let them adjust themselves and lay correctly as I put my next step in. So now I'm exiting this 8-0 or this 11-0 seed bead here. I'm going to pick up another 11-0 and I'm going to go into the next 11-0, the next 3 8-0s, and the 11-0 after that in the next set of 2 11-0s. And I am going to pull this 11-0 seed bead just on top of the 2 11-0s here to form a peak. You can see a piece of thread through the middle here. That's okay. Don't worry about that. Now pick up another 11-0 seed bead and go into the next 11-0 in your next set here. Go into the 11-0, the 3 8-0s, and the next 11-0 in the next set of 2 11-0s, like so, and pull it through, and just pull it gently until there's no more slack. Do not put a bunch of tension on it. Pick up your next 11-0, go into the 11-0 you're right next to, go through the next 3 8-0s, and the next 11-0 in the next set of 2 11-0s, and pull your 11-0 down into a peak. Turn it again, and this is where your tail is. So just tuck the tail underneath here, and then go into the next 11-0 just as you've been doing. But this time, as you go through, exit the inside of the 8-0 seed beads right here. Do not exit the 11-0 as we've been doing. Just exit the 8-0s towards the inside of the diamond shape you're creating. Pull that down nice and neat. And still, I haven't pulled a ton of tension there. Pick up another 11-0 seed bead. This time, you're exiting these 8-0s here we're going to go directly into the next set of 8-ohs, bypassing the 11-oh seed beads in the little peaks we've created. So just go up into the next set of 8-ohs. I'm going to turn this and pull this 11-oh down into place. And here I'll put a slight bit of tension on it just so that it pulls everything together, like so. Then I will pick up my next 11-oh seed bead. I'll go into the next set of 8-ohs here and pull this together. Make sure this always wants to twist, this thread right here. As you pull these in, make sure that it's untwisted and lays in nicely, like so. And just continue doing that until you get to the 4th set. So I'm coming out of this set of 8-ohs, I'm going into the next set of 8-ohs, and I'm going to pull this 11-oh seed bead down. Excuse me. I am suffering from a bit of a cold. I really apologize for that. Now pick up another 11-oh seed bead. You're coming out of these 8-oh seed beads. Go into the next set of 8-oh seed beads and exit and pull the 11-oh seed bead into place, like so. Now you have a little diamond shape. It should be flat, it shouldn't be all bunched, it should have a nice shape. That's why you gently pull these through instead of putting a bunch of tension on it. Now, you're going to go up into the inside 11-oh seed bead, right next to where you're exiting your 8-ohs, just the 11-oh, like so. We're going to get a little closer so that you can see this next step. So, let me get my camera here. Okay. So now we're going to start putting some crystals in the middle. And I am going to start with my peach colored crystals. So I'm going to get 4 of these out where I can reach them and an 11-oh. So you're going to pick up a crystal, then an 11-oh, and then a crystal. We're coming out of this 11-oh seed bead on this side, so we want to make sure that we travel over to the side we're exiting from. Do not cross over your 11-oh and go to this side. So I'm coming out this side, I'm going to go to this 11-oh seed bead in the center here. And I'm going to pull these 3 beads into the center of my diamond shape. Right there. And now, let's get even closer. I want you to see how we're going to do this as we connect these crystals, because this can get really sloppy if you don't do this the correct way. Now I'm exiting this 11-oh on this side. I'm going to go down into the crystal again on that side. And I will go into my 11-oh seed bead here. I'm going to pull my thread and give it a little tug because I do want tension on these. Otherwise, you'll see your thread here really heavily. As you do this, you'll pull them down and it'll kind of hide itself between the beads. Then, we are coming out of this 11-oh seed bead here. We're going to go up into the crystal here, right here, the first crystal we put on, and pull the thread through. And then we're going to come through the opposite side of the 11-oh from which we started. Now, if you can see, get really close. Excuse me. You're going to see that there's thread right here. That's the side we have attached. So we're going to go into the opposite side to attach the other side of the crystal. Basically, we're sewing around in a circle. So we went around a circle in this 11-oh to this bead, up through here, around a circle, and then we'll go down through this crystal again so that we can add our next crystal. So now, we're going to go down into this crystal. As we go through, we're going to pull, give this thread a tug so that the thread on either side of the 11-oh isn't really showing up. Okay, so we have traveled through this crystal. Now we're going to go up into the 11-0 seed bead here and pull our thread through. Then we will pick up another bicone crystal. And what we are going to do is go into, we're coming out of this side of this 11-0, so we're going to go into this side of this 11-0, the same side, so we can create the little circle stitch to attach it. So go into the 11-0 and hold on to your piece. It's just kind of gently guide your thread through. You have to do this rather slowly because like I said, it can get really sloppy. So you want to do this very slow and controlled. Now you're coming out of this side here. We're going to go back down into the crystal here. And as we go through, we'll pull so that the thread slides down between the beads here. Then we'll go back into the 11-0 seed bead here and pull and turn the piece, and we'll put in our last crystal. So pick up a crystal. You're coming out of this side of the 11-0 in the center, so we're going to go into the same side of the 11-0 here, and we're going to pull this through. Then we have to attach the other side of the crystal here, because you've only got one side attached to the 11-0. So we're going to go back down into the crystal, like so. I'm covering it just so I can pull my thread through gently. Then I'll give it a little tug. Then I'm going to go back into my 11-0 seed bead here on this side. And I need to travel back out, so I'm going to go up through this crystal right here. And I'll pull this through. And now I'm coming out of the crystal here. I'm going to go up into the 11-0 seed bead. So I'm coming out of this side, so I'm going to go through this side of the 11-0 here. Just trying to keep my thread as neat as I can, because this can get thready and just not very pretty. So you have to do it pretty controlled and think about your steps here. Now, my tail thread is over here, and I'm going to use this for the side of my clasp. So I need to sew over to here to make my next unit so that the rest of my bracelet will be in line with where I want my clasp to be. So I'm coming out of this little 11-0 seed bead right here. I'm going to go up into this 11-0 here, right here. And I'm going to go into the peaked 11-0 also here. And pull this through like so. And then I'm going to sew. So let's see, my tail is here. I'm going to sew over to this peak. So I will just go into this 11-0 now on this side and the 3/8. And then I will sew up this 11-0 and into this peaked 11-0 here so that I can start my next unit. So here, and then into the top one here. Now I have my first unit. This unit I will be able to draw a little bit tighter. It's a little bit more spread out than the rest of them, and you'll notice that. But that's okay. When we get done, we'll sew this thread up through the top, knot it, and give it some tension. But at this point right now, it doesn't matter. We are over here on this end, and we're going to start the next unit. So what we're going to do, the next unit is a little bit different, of course, because we're connecting. So we're going to build it just a little bit different so that we can just make one continuous bracelet instead of making components and then putting them together. So what we're going to do now is we're going to pick up 2 11-0 seed beads onto our needle. We're coming out of this side here. I'm going to back off just a slight bit so I can stay in frame. Pick up 2 11-0s. I'm coming out of this 11-0 on this side. I'm going to go into the opposite side of the 11-0 here. And I'm going to pull these down until they lay side by side on top of the 11-0 that I'm attaching to. Then I'm going to turn this a little bit and I'm going to go up through just one of the 11-0s. Put my thumb over it so I can maintain some tension on this unit and pull my thread through gently. That way I don't distort the way my beads are laying, because it's important that they stay laying out. Then I'm going to pick up 12 8-0 seed beads onto my needle. I have 9. Let me get 3 more. 12. Now I'm coming out of the top of this bead here. I'm going to go into the top of the bead next to it, like so. I'm going to put my thumb over it and I'm going to gently pull these beads down. Every time you pull them down, they're going to twist. It's going to happen every time. So untwist it, turn it slightly, leave a lot of slack in there, and hold on to it so you maintain the slack as we go through. We're going to go up into the bead we're attaching to right here. So this 11-0, and I'll show you this 11-0 right between the units here. We're going to go into it. And then we're going to pull the thread through. As you draw these beads up, leave some slack in them. And like I said, it wants to twist every single time. Once we start our next stitch, it'll be okay, but leave some slack in them. Go up through, you're coming out of this little connecting 11-0 in the center. You are then going to go up into this 11-0 here, right here, and you're going to go through 3 8-0 seed beads, like so. And then pull your thread through. And maintain your slack in your thread. Then pick up 2 11-0 seed beads, go into the next 3 8-0s. So here we are, got 2 on the needle. Go through there, place these down, and they want to twist too. So arrange them until they lay out like so. And then pick up 2 11-0 seed beads, go into the next 3, and exit, and pull your 2 11-0s down. Again, keep some slack maintained in this, especially these second units, because they can get very, very tight and very difficult to work in, and then your entire bracelet will not work correctly. Pick up 2 11-0 seed beads and then go into the next 3 8-0s. And go up through the 11-0 that you've attached the 8-0s to. And pull this thread through. Like so. Now, we're going to go through the attaching middle 11-0 again. The one right in the middle. And pull the needle through. Here you can kind of straighten it out and just make sure it's not real tight. Just leave it gently laying, the beads gently laying next to each other. They don't have a ton of tension, but they're not so loose that they're a big fat mess either. Then come up through the next 11-0 seed bead. So we're in the middle connector, right there. We're going to go up into this 11-0 again, get back into our units. We're going to go all the way up through the 3 8-0s and exit the first 11-0 seed bead in the two that we put between them. Pull it through, pick up an 11-0 seed bead, go into the next 11-0, and then back up through the next 3 and out the 11-0 in the next set of 11-0s. Pull it down into the peak. Again, pick up an 11-0 seed bead, go into the next 11-0 and the 3 8-0s and the next 11-0 here. Pull this one down until it forms a peak, like so. Back off a little bit now, and let's pick up an 11-0 seed bead and go into the next 11-0 that we're next to, up through the 3 8-0s and exit. Don't go into the next 11-0 up here. I can get close again for a second. So I'm just exiting my 3 8-0 seed beads, and I'm going to pull this down into a peak. Now we're going to go from this 8-0 to this 8-0, pick up an 11-0 and place it in between. So go into the next set of 8-0s. Go through all 3 of them, like so. You back off again, and pull your thread through, and pull this 11-0 down in between the beads here. Now, this here wants to be a little thready, so try to tuck that thread a little bit behind. It doesn't matter if it's on the other side of the bracelet, so just kind of tuck that thread down here, and then pick up your next 11-0 seed bead. You're coming out of this set of 8-0s, go into the next set of 8-0s towards the inside of the diamond shape, and pull. Again, these twist almost every time, so untwist it and pull it down until it lays in there nice and neat. On these second units, they may raise just slightly, but you don't want them to raise too much. You want them to sit in between the beads as much as they possibly can. And you're coming out of these 3 8-0s here. You're going to go into the next 3 8-0s here and place an 11-0 seed bead on the center there of your corner. And pull it in. And then again, see what I mean by the slack? It's very difficult to maintain perfect tension or perfect slack in these. You're going to have to get the feel for it as you do it so that everything lays nice and neat. Go into the next 3 8-0s here. Pull your last corner bead in. Now we're going to go into this 11-0 seed bead here, right there, and exit. Okay, so now we are coming out of this 11-0 seed bead in this direction. So we're going to go over to this 11-0 seed bead as we attach our next set of crystals. I'm going to make another set of peach. I'm going to make 2 sets of each color. Now you can make each set a different color if you'd like I said earlier. It doesn't matter. You can make it all one color. You could make 3 of one color, 3 of another. It doesn't matter. But I'm going to make 2 of my peach colors. So I'm going to pick up another peach bead and an 11-0 and a peach bead. No, that's pink. I mixed my colors up, darn it. I had perfect little piles. Alright, so I have these 2 beads here. I am going to go into the next 11-0 here. I'm going to pull these down and push them into the center of my diamond shape, like so. Bring my thread around, make sure it falls down between the beads and tucks in nice and neat. Then I'm going to go up through my bicone again. So I'm coming out of this side of the 11-0. I'm going to go back up into the bicone so that it makes a circle around the 11-0 seed bead and attaches my bicone nicely. Then I'm going to go back into my 11-0 and my crystal here. And then I'll go to the side of the 11-0 I've attached this bicone to that does not have a thread leading out of it. So my thread is here, so I'm going to go to this side and go into it here. So now I have a circular stitch around that 11-0 to attach my bicone. Then I'm going to make sure that that the thread falls down nice and neat. If I need to, I'll push it back a little bit. And then I'm going to turn my piece and I'm going to go back into that bicone. And then I'm going to come up through the 11-0 seed bead. Like so. Now I'm ready to attach my next bicone to this 11-0 seed bead. So I will pick up my next peach bead, make sure it's peach, yep, and then go into this side. I'm coming out of this side here, so I'm just going to make sure my thread is nice and neat and go through this side of the 11-0. Now bring my crystal down. I've got a knot in my thread, excuse me guys, while I fix this. There we go. And then I'm coming out of this side of my 11-0. So I'm going to go back into my crystal, back into my 11-0, so that I have a circular stitch around that 11-0 that I'm attaching to. Go into here and pull these down. I'm going to give it a little tug so that that thread goes down kind of between my beads so you can't see it, because it's laying in a circle around this 11-0, so I want to kind of hide it as the best I can. I'm going to kind of pop these seeds up a little bit, these crystals up a little bit so I have more space, making sure that my 11-0 seed bead doesn't sink to the other side. Now this one, you're going to see that it stays flat, and that's because we have to put tension on it yet on this side. And then it'll poof up a little bit. So don't worry about the first one looking different than the second. It's just going to. Now, pick up your next peach bead. That's not peach. Or next whatever color you're using. Make sure that I have the right one here. And then I'm going to go up into, I'm coming out of this side of the 11-0. I'm going to turn my piece and go into the same side of the 11-0 here in the corner and pull. Sorry, I seem to be having twisting and tangling issues today. But ever since I designed this, I've had that, so I don't know. I think it's just part of the way that this one comes together. Alright, so now I'm coming out of this side of the 11-0. I'm going to go back down into the crystal, and I will go back down into my 11-0 seed bead on the opposite side. Pull this down. I need to get into my 11-0 here. And I'll exit my 11-0. It's getting a little tight, and I actually just think it's the angles more than thread tight. I'm going to pull this through, give it a nice little tug, arrange my crystals nicely, and now I'm coming out of the 11-0 in the center. I'm going to travel up this crystal so that I can travel up to this corner and then over to this corner so I can make my next unit. So I'm just going to go straight up this crystal, and I'll exit out this way. And I'm going to go into this 11-0 seed bead here. Make sure I'm in frame here. And I'll go into the next 8-0s. And the next 11-0 evidently. And pull through. I'm just going to sew right into this corner here. And now I am in position to make my next unit. So we'll make one more here, then we'll go to length, and then I'll show you how to attach your clasping. So now we're going to pick up 2 11-0 seed beads. We're coming out of this side. We're going to go into the opposite side of the bead we're exiting from. We're going to lay these out like so that they're side by side, and we're going to come up through one of them. Preferably the one that you're coming out next to here. And then pick up 12 of your 8-0 seed beads onto your needle. And then you're coming out of the top of this bead, you're going to go into the top of this bead here. Pull your beads around. Leave some slack in those beads. Go up into the 11-0 that you've attached to, right here. Pull that through, leaving slack in your piece here. Go down into the next 11-0. So I'm in the center one here. I'm going to go down into the 11-0 that I started in, and I'm going to pick up 3 8-0 seed beads too. Excuse me. Leaving slack in your line, like so. You're going to pick up 2 11-0 seed beads, and you're going to go into the next 3 8-0s. I think I even want a little more slack than that. Alright. I'm going to go into my next 3 and pull this down. Now at this point, this is when you can give yourself more slack, so make sure before you start going all the way around that you've got yourself quite a bit, because you can always tighten it, but it's harder to get more slack. So pick up 2 11-0 seed beads, go into the next 3 8-0s. Pull your thread through and lay these down. Then pick up 2 more 11-0 seed beads, go into the next 3 8-0s and the 11-0 that you first attached to, right here. Then you have to sew into the middle 11-0 here. Bring this around, and here just make sure it's just tight enough to where it has shape, but it's not all drawn together. Then go back down into the next 11-0 and the next 3 8-0s and exit towards the inside here. Pick up an 11-0 seed bead and then go into the next 3 8-0s and exit. Oh, excuse me. We're on the outside. As you come through the 8-0s, also come through the 11-0 here. Now, I know it seems like I should be able to do the inside first, but I've tried it several ways, and the way that I've done this the way I'm showing you is the best way to actually retain shape. So as you come up through, you want to exit your 11-0 and put on your outside beads to make your peaks first. So go into the next 11-0, go through the next 3 8-0s and through the 11-0 on top. Here. Now we're exiting this 11-0 here. We're going to pick up another 11-0 seed bead. We're just going to go through the next 11-0 and the next 3 8-0s and the 11-0 after those 8-0s. And we're going to pull that 11-0 gently into place. Again, I'm not putting tons of tension on this. I'm just letting the beads adjust themselves neatly onto the thread. Then I'm going to go through the next 3, or the 11-0, the next 3 8-0s, and I'm going to exit just the 8-0 seed beads. I'm not going to go up into the 11-0s there. And pull this down. And then I'm going to pick up an 11-0 seed bead, and I'm going to go from this set of 8-0s into this set. Here. Let me hold this better. And I'm going to place this 11-0 seed bead I picked up in the center here between the sets of 8-0s. Pull this down and push it down into place. And then again pick up an 11-0 seed bead, go from this set of 8-0s to this set towards the inside and pull. And one more time, pick up an 8-0 or an 11-0 seed bead, go into the next set of 8-0s and pull. Then pick up one more 11-0, go into the next set of 8-0s and go into the 11-0 that you started in. Pull this all in shape. Here you can give it a little tug, make it nice and neat. And then we will begin placing our crystals. So pick up your next color crystal. I'm going to use fuchsia color AB is what I'm going to use on mine. And then I'm going to pick up an 11-0 and then I'm going to pick up another one of my fuchsias. And I'm going to go into the next 11-0 seed bead here. And I'm going to pull this or push this into the center like so. And then I'm coming out of this side of my 11-0, I'm going to go back up into my crystal and exit on that side. Pull my thread down in there nice and neat, and then I'm going to go through my 11-0 and I'm going to exit on the side where I didn't attach originally. So my thread is on that side, now I need to attach it on this side. So I'm going to come through and then I'm going to go through the 11-0. Let's see, actually I lied. My thread is on this side, so I have to come this way through my bead. Whatever side that your thread isn't coming out of is the side you want to go in on for your attachment here. And then I'm going to pull my thread down so that it tucks down between my beads nicely. Then I'm going to go into the crystal again here and back into the 11-0 seed bead in the center. I'm coming out to where I am positioned perfectly for this bead to attach a crystal to. So that is what I will do next. I'll pick up another one of my fuchsia beads and I will go into this side of my 11-0 seed bead and pull my crystal in to place. Give it a little tug so that my thread goes down there nice. And then I'm going to go into the crystal again on the opposite side and through my 11-0 and exit my 11-0. Right in the center here. As I do this, I will give it a nice tug, and then I'll kind of push the beads up so that they don't sink down into my piece. Then I'm going to pick up my next crystal. I'm going to turn my piece. I'm going to go into this bead right here on the side that I'm exiting from the center 11-0. And I'm going to draw this crystal down. And I'm going to go back up through it on the opposite side, like so. Then I'm going to go back up through the center 11-0 to finish my stitch here. And draw this bead up here. Pull it through. Give it a nice tug, nice tight tug, so that you can see my thread going down around the beads instead of sticking out on top of them. Now I'm going to go back down into this crystal I just came out of so that I can work my way here. So I'm going to go here, and then I'll pull my thread back in there, nice and neat and tight. I'll go into this 11-0 seed bead here. I'll go into these 8-0s here, and then up into the 11-0s here. And pull this nice and tight. And then I can kind of push the thread down. If I see a little piece peeking up, I'll push it towards the back of my piece, like so. And then I'll go into the next 11-0, and I'm ready to start another unit. I'll make another set of fuchsia, and then I'll make maybe my champagne color. So I've got, what I did with my crystals was I used a pink AB, a peach AB, fuchsia AB, a champagne, and a purple amethyst. So I'm just going to make 2 units of each. I'll probably do my peach, and then my fuchsia, and then my champagne, and then my purple, and then my pink. Okay, so I have gone completely to length. And as I've said, I've made 2 units of each color and used 5 colors. So I have 10 units, and this is going to be right around an 7.5 inch bracelet, something like that. So you can see that I've just left a 1/2 inch opening for my wrist here. Of course, as I attach it, I'll get a little bit more than a 1/2 inch, which will give me a little bit of movement. So what I'm going to do now, I'm coming out of my last 11-0 here, and I am going to pick up an 11-0 seed bead and an 8-0 seed bead, and I'm going to drop these down. Then I'm going to pick up the circle part of my clasping here, and I am going to go through it, and then through my 8-0, and just my 8-0, and I'm going to hold on to my piece. Let me back off just a little bit here, and then I'm going to pull, as I'm holding on to my 8-0, I'm just going to pull this clasp down to my beads here, like so. Then I'm going to pick up an 11-0 seed bead and go into the opposite side from which I started, like so. This is what you should have. Now I'm going to sew back up through this several times. So I'll go through this 11-0, the 8-0 around the clasp, through this 11-0, and through this one. I'm going to do that several times to secure my piece, and then we will be back. Okay, so now I've sewn through and I've secured my clasp, and I'm just going to tie this side off. I'm going to sew through my work a little bit and tie knots. So I'm coming out of this 11-0 here. After attaching my clasp, I'm going to go into the 11-0 next to it, and the 3 8-0s here, and I'm going to exit here. Let me back off a little, and then we're going to tie a knot between these 2 beads here. So I'm just going to go between the 8-0 and the 11-0 here, and see if I can grab a thread bridge between the beads. Actually, I'm going to go into this 11-0 here, and then I'm going to go up into the peak and tie a knot. Well, maybe I'll see. I'm going to find a good spot. There's a thread bridge right here I can tie onto. So I'll go under it and tie a little knot. Of course, I've got my tail in the way, so I just messed myself up, but that's okay. I'll salvage it there. And then I'm going to go down into these next 3 beads here. You can tie as many knots as you want, sew through as much as you want. I'm just going to do a few just to get us to the next point here. So I'm going to tie a knot between these beads here. Make sure you don't grab more than one thread bridge. There are several here because of the way we made this, these units. So you want to make sure you only get one thread bridge. So I'm going to grab the one here. And tie a knot. And then I'll go through this 11-0 here. I go up through this side, and I'm just going to cut my thread off because video's getting a little long. So I'm going to cut this off. I'm going to grab my lighter. I'm going to pull this towards the back of my piece so that my blob is on the back and not on the front, and I'm just going to melt that down like so. Now, this side of my piece is finished. Now I finished this side of the clasping. I'm going to go ahead and extend my Fireline because I don't have enough thread to sew up through and do my clasping. I'm going to go ahead off camera and I'm going to extend my Fireline, and then I'm going to sew up into, see, we're coming out of the 8/0s here. We need to sew up into the 11-0 and then into this 11-0 here. We'll tie a little knot and pull the unit tight, and then we'll tie our clasp. And let me go extend my Fireline and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so now I have extended my Fireline. If you do not know how to do that and you need to do that to put your clasping on, then there is a video on my new channel, GGC's Beginning Beaders, video number 4. Check that out and it'll show you how to do that. Now, I'm coming out of this 8/0 seed bead here. I'm going to go up into this 11-0 here, and then I'm going to go up into the peaked 11-0. I'm going to pull this through, and then I'm going to tighten it because, like I said, the tension wasn't really tight on this first unit, so it wasn't quite as poofy as the others. So I've pulled this a little tight, like so, and then you can either begin your clasping or you can tie a little knot. I'm going to tie a little knot right here, hoping to retain my tension, and because I have an extension there, I might get in my own way here. No, it was okay. There we go. Now I have my nice good tension on that first piece that we didn't have before. The only thing that I found that was a little bit different in this was I used some amethyst beads that evidently are Preciosa and not Swarovski. Preciosa, they say they're 4mm, but they're a little bit smaller than Swarovski. So these 2 units on mine are a little bit more spread out than the other units. Not quite as much tension and not quite as poofy because my crystals were different. But that will make a difference with your units if you're using different size beads. Different brands and stuff, it can happen, but it's still pretty. There's just more space, say, between those than there is here, so you can't see the space here. So that's the difference. Anyway, doesn't really matter to me. I'm fine with it. I would have taken it apart if it really mattered, but it doesn't. So now I've got this here coming out of the top bead. I've tied a knot I'm coming out the top. I'm going to do the same thing I did on the other side. I'm going to pick up an 11-0 seed bead, an 8-0 seed bead, and an 11-0 seed bead, an 8-0 seed bead, and then I'm going to drop it down, excuse me. And then I'm going to pick up my clasp. I'm going to go through my clasp right here. And then I'm going to go through my 8-0, and just my 8-0, I'm going to hold on to it and pull through. And then I'm going to pick up an 11-0 seed bead, and I'm going to go into the 11-0 I'm attaching to here, and I'm going to pull through. And arrange this nice and neat. And I will sew through this several times like I did on the other side, and then I will go through and knot like I did on the other side also. Cut off my thread, burn it down, and we'll be back to see the finished piece. Go ahead and secure your piece, knot it off, and we'll be back. And so I have finished my piece, and this is what it looks like on. There's my toggle, and here are all my little pretty units. It's a nice little dainty piece. I really like it. It turned out really nice. And like I said, you can do any color scheming you want on this. You can do it all in metallic beads with all clear crystal, whatever. Make it all different gemstone colors. Do whatever you want. It's quite pretty. And I hope you enjoyed it. See you later. Bye-bye.